Tonight we're going to talk about this trip that we made to Rome. It was a year ago. So we had great expectations, obviously. So we were like thinking, we're planning, putting everything into God's hands, because we pray obviously the rosary every night, and then we're praying for this trip, that everything goes well with the children, everything, because we knew it was going to be challenging, but we never expected it was going to develop in a more challenging way than we were thinking.
On the flight there,
so,
an 8 or 9 hour flight, and then there was a carryover into from Switzerland to Rome.
Well, on that flight was with these 3 children. We were expecting they could sleep during that trip, during the flight, and then after an hour that we were flying, then my little one, who was 1 year old in that time, she started to cry. And then the cry was screaming, I mean, a loud cry, and I tried everything with her, food, milk. Then I had Tylenol because I didn't have any other medication with me, so I gave that. And people will say, it's her ears because of the pressure, and I say, okay, yes. So I started to walk with her. She calmed down 10 minutes, and then cry and cry and cry. So it was a long, long night, and I was obviously overwhelmed because it was, I mean, people there who wanted to sleep. Nobody really complained, but I saw looks. So it was very hard. So then at some point, like after 3 or 4 hours that she was crying, in that time, 3-year-old started to cry as well. So I was 2 girls crying, and they were just not like, oh, it was screaming. Oh. And then my 3rd one started to cry too, because the second, my other, Olivia, was crying. So I was, this is not happening. So I just was like, what's this? So I was just praying and praying, God help me, because this is not possible. So my oldest calmed down. My 3-year-old finally calmed down, because I had to talk to her, please, you are older, you cannot do this, please. And so then when finally my little one calmed down for maybe 5 minutes, but those 5 minutes I just closed my eyes and I said, please, Mother Mary, help me, because I mean, she's crying so much, I don't know what's going on. I tried everything and she's still crying. But in that moment when I closed my eyes, I just saw like a cross, a small cross with flowers, different types of flowers. And I felt, I mean, that Our Lady was telling me, well, this is your sweet cross to carry.
So we were really at the end of our rope there. I mean, we tried everything, you know, and, you know, it's in our Lord's hands at that point.
Yeah.
So finally we landed in Switzerland. And, you know, thank God we landed. But when we got off the plane, we found out they lost our double stroller. And, you know, the double stroller was the key to, you know, switching planes and kind of everything else for the trip. So we were, you know, waiting by the airplane door for the double stroller. And Father Rocky was with us, you know, waiting for us. And we waited too long, and so when we got to the gate in Switzerland, they had already closed the gate from the plane to, you know, the whole airport. And this is no normal gate. This is like a nuclear blast gate that like required these, you know, high-level security personnel to, you know, open. So we waited about, you know, 10 or 15 minutes. You know, we could see the whole group of the pilgrimage on the other side of the glass waiting for us. And here we are, like, you know, but, you know, at that point we felt helpless. I mean, this kind of second point of the trip where we felt helpless, where we couldn't do anything, and it was in God's hand. Because we didn't have our double strollers, you know, we had to carry everything, and, you know, we finally made it to the other gate, and, sweaty and, you know, carrying everything, and, you know, the kids were, you know, semi-cooperative, and all that. But we did make the plane, and we did make the connection. So then after that, we, you know, the next flight was only an hour and 45 minutes, and that was not without too much incident. They were fine there. But when we got to Rome,
well, these things happening, obviously, in my mind, I felt really overwhelmed. At the same time, I was trying to see the light on that. I mean, God is putting all these things now because He's trying to work something in us, patience, or, I know, to be strong. I mean, when these things happen.
We were planning on the hotel rooms being connected, but it turns out, you know, we were down the hall from each other.
But we were in a hotel, they had dinner, went to bed, everything. So then around 1 in the morning, yeah, again, my baby, that time 1-year-old, Naomi started to cry, like screaming. So I went to see her, and she was just right next to my bed, the crib. So I touched her, she was with a lot of fever. And I'm like, what's going on now? So I tried to give, I just had Tylenol with me, I don't know why. So I gave Tylenol, but the Tylenol didn't relieve the fever. She kept on crying. And then an hour later, my 2-year-old Olivia, who was with me in the room, got up like throwing up because she was feeling bad.
We were praying that the doctor that we called could speak English, after all, we're in Rome. And we were able to get a doctor, and what we found out was that the youngest one had an inflamed throat. Well, Tylenol wasn't going to work because it's not an anti-inflammatory. So if we brought, you know, ibuprofen instead of Tylenol, it might have, yeah, things might have been a little bit different. And then Olivia, the girl that was throwing up, she was, you know, severely constipated, and so we had to stay, home, you know, in the hotel room for a day and a half.
At some point, I felt like resignation, and I was not joyful, and that was something that I was trying to see. I mean, well, God sends us these kind of tests, and we need to understand that these are going to help us grow. But when they were happening, for me it was hard, and I was like, okay, God, I'm going to take it, but I was not joyful.
So they finally got better, and one afternoon, you know, a day and a half, late afternoon, we were able to go to the plaza, and you know, they had fun there. And then the next day, we had a tour of Imperial Rome, which was terrific. The canonization mass was awesome, and it was very peaceful.
And also, then I saw my kids that they were not complaining at all.
Reflecting on it, you know, the challenges we faced were very ordinary challenges. I mean, there's nothing extraordinary about the things that we faced. They were difficult, but they were ordinary challenges that any family could face. So that, you know, we're not trying to, you know, make it any more than it really is, but it is true that you know, we were hoping for blessings and graces to come as a result of the pilgrimage to all the holy sites, but you know, God had other plans, as Maria was saying. You know, we went through ordinary but difficult challenges that had us, you know, gaining the graces of, you know, increasing our patience, faith, hope, and charity. Fortitude, obviously. So we got our blessings and graces in different channels, and as if we were getting them through going to holy sites.
Yeah, and then during this year, I mean, you obviously reflect, we have been reflecting about when we have a situation that is challenging, how are we going to respond to that? Because even though I was in that time responding like with resignation but not with joy, then I said, well, teach me then when there is a challenge to be patient and to trust in you, not trusting our plans and what we thought that was gonna be good. It's because you have another plan. God has, He knows, I mean, what we need. So during all these years, like thinking, well, when I have a situation, I have to be, I mean, reminding myself of this is God sending me this situation to keep growing, to be trusting in Him. And well, this is a vocation that He gave me as a mother, He as a father. I mean, it's not gonna be easy, because some people think like once you get married, you have children, like life in the fairy tales. It's not that. I mean, at all. Once you get married, have children, it's really difficult. I mean, if you really work for holiness and sanctity, I mean, you are gonna face a lot of things, and this is as true as now that we are facing like the great things so far. But I mean, there are things that help us, I mean, as a couple and as a family, to keep growing and to be more united in prayer.
Yeah, I'd like to highlight, most of these situations where it seemed, we were helpless. I don't want to say hopeless because that's not true. We always had hope, but we were helpless. We were at the end of the line. I mean, we couldn't do anything. We would just wait, and that God came through for us that way. And that's where, as hard as it is during the time to believe that, but looking back on it, it's so much easier to say, yeah, that's where we became stronger. When we came back home, something happened. It was a piece of cake for compared to Rome. Everything was very easy.
We try to follow the routine that we kind of try to follow at home as well. That's very important with our children.
It's important for both parents to be consistent in their roles in raising their kids. If you have one parent being the good parent and the other one being the enforcer, that doesn't quite work too well. It's better for the parent to discipline with action. Just pick up the child and put her in timeout rather than have this long, speech with the child. If you're speaking too much to them, that doesn't seem to work as well as just, acting rather than, speaking too much. Something that was very important to us was to learn our temperaments. There's 4 basic temperaments, and the better you know the temperaments of your child, or children, or your spouse, and everybody, that will help you know what works and what doesn't work for them, and what pushes their buttons and what motivates them, and what irritates them. And we all have to remember, children are a gift to us from God, and have fun with them.
Yes. Okay. Thank you very much.